3, 2, 1, go.
Yo, what's up, guys? Schizomedic here. Some of you might be surprised. Where's the Pokemon 10 review? Movie 10 review. It's coming. We haven't decided if we're gonna do Master Mirage or Master Pokemon yet because nobody wants to fucking do it. But that's a whole other issue. But we figured we'd do this anyway because I know some people know, or at least some of the older fans would know, that me and Tyrone have varying opinions on Dawn, which are her movies we're about to touch. It's like what, the next 4, 5 films, I think.
Next 4 films.
And so I thought this might be a good kind of setup video. And I was able to catch an elusive Pokemon that you guys haven't seen for a while. The shit, I don't know how I did this. I didn't have a Master Ball, but I found like a lure or something, like a gut rod. I think it works. Polly, say hi.
Hello. Good to be here.
Some people are like, well, how did you do this? We haven't seen her since movie 6. I said, I know. It's been weird. I actually felt bad because in movie 9, there was a Politoed and Poliwhirl at the beginning of the film. And And the first thing I was like, she's not going to be here to review the film.
A rare Polly appeared. Polly fled.
You should... Honestly, I have like probably a list of like episodes where I know that they're in there, and I screenshot them.
Track down the Poliwhirls.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like the happiest day is when Misty caught a Poliwag, and it was like we've made it.
So you just love Pokemon Adventures manga because Red starter Pokemon is Poliwhirl.
Well, that's the
yes.
Yes, probably so. Tyrone is here.
Hello, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 here.
He always puts on his damn official voice, and I feel like I haven't tried hard enough. Damn it. So, the basis of this video is actually pretty simple. We're going to talk about Dawn for an extended period of time. Me and Tyrone are playing Bad Cop, and Poliwhirl will have the halo over her head because she's playing Good Cop.
This will be I guess, for those of y'all who are subscribed to my channel watching his video, which you should subscribe to his channel as well, obviously. This will be my Dawn 3 video.
Yeah, but see,
because I made a Dawn 1 and a Dawn 2, the mature version.
So what is it? Is that implying that the third film went to a different owner because it's on my channel now?
Yeah, I lost the rights to Dawn.
I copyrighted that shit after the second one. I saw how much money he was making over there. I couldn't have that.
All right, guys, he bought us out. But yeah, go ahead, Terrell.
Okay, so it's kind of weird because the topic's literally on one character. I guess the best way we should start this off is general opinions. I know, and I'll let Polly go first because if you're a fan of my channel or Tyrone's, you probably heard us talk about it to an extent. You may not have heard anything from Polly. So just give your general opinions on Dawn, and we'll probably get into specifics afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I love Dawn. She and Misty are probably up there. I don't really have like a Pokegirl that is like my main girl, my favorite character. But I'd say if I had to choose, Dawn and Misty are equally my favorite Pokegirls. I always liked how optimistic she was. I actually love her team. Her team is probably one of my favorites out of all the companions. There's stuff I want to, but I feel like I should probably get into it later. I like that she was also, she followed May in this sort of regard where she was kind of an equal to Ash. And this is, even though this is the second time that happened, it really, I don't know how to word this. It kind of fell flat with Iris and Serena. I didn't understand. I thought that we were getting this place of having 2 main protagonists. But I'm glad that Dawn was included in that because I felt like she really did have certain arcs that she went through, and especially after the Wallace Cup, which I guess we'll get into later because that's kind of the turning point of where she had all these losses with her contests, and then she really started working hard and started winning, and she got better, and really connected with her Pokemon a lot. So those are kind of my opinions.
Okay. I think Tyrone would probably do a good job sufficing for me and his base opinions because, as I said, the further we get into this, the more we'll end up talking about it anyway. Tyrone, you want to go over some base reasons why you don't like Dawn?
Yeah. I'll go into it. So I'll give a brief plot. I'll give a brief summary
You
of Dawn
already
first.
sound annoyed. That's what kills me.
No, see, the thing is, okay, so obviously this is after the advanced series. We go into Pokemon Diamond and Pearl to represent the Diamond and Pearl games that came out. We get Dawn, who wants to be a Pokemon coordinator, and obviously it's familiar territory because it's right after May, which I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with female companions wanting the same goal, especially considering the fact that contests are sort of parallel to battles, at least to a certain point. It gave both the male and female protagonists something to do. That's fine. I don't have a problem with Dawn copying May, but it does give her a strike because it already at the gate puts Dawn on expectation levels that May has already accomplished. And May went far. May went from not liking Pokemon to becoming top 4 in Kanto's Grand Festival, which is quite a ways. She's even able to defeat her rival, which is Drew. And she grows on later, to continue her journey being a top coordinator. Fine, said, done, whatever. Then we get introduced to Dawn. Now, the problem that I have with Dawn kind of spans with the start of her whole journey, and it's the fact that she has to be this novice when she gets Piplup. Now, obviously, Piplup's her first Pokemon. She's never really had a contest or a battle or anything of that sort. But for someone whose mother is a coordinator, an experienced coordinator, Dawn does not come off to me as someone who is even remotely familiar with the contest scene. I mean, for Christ's sake, Ash had to sort of clue her in. Ash had to sort of clue her in on the catching of Baneri. And then at that point, it was just sort of, well, we've reached this level where we got to play this game where the girl is new to Pokemon and Ash has got to pick her up and she's got to go through all of this where her mother was already a skilled coordinator. So I kind of felt like the journey for her should have been her copying her mother and realizing that she has to step off on her own to become her own coordinator, because copying her mother's skills won't work, especially considering the fact that when her mother was doing the contest scene, she was much younger, whereas Dawn's doing the contest scene has changed quite a bit, and she's going to need her own style to go forward, sort of like a My Hero Academia situation. But we don't get that. We get a whole thing of her starting off coordinating, being sort of bad at it, her crying because she lost, and then after that, it's just pick up with a bunch of Pokemon that she can barely manage. Pachyrisu's uncontrollable. Piloswine to Mamoswine just plain doesn't want to listen. And Weasel doesn't want to do contests, so she trades it for an Ambipom. Ambipom's too wrapped up in its flair in order to listen, so she yeets it off into the ping pong tournaments, and it's just a mess. She doesn't even beat Zoe, her rival.
All right, listen. When I said basic, I knew he was gonna do this. He went full on.
But so sorry. I'm sorry. Long story short, that's the things that I have against Dawn.
Okay. This is a lot. All right, there's a lot to unpack. All right.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
It's just, I mean, you feel how you feel. It's weird because the fandom is so large that people have their favorite regions, they have their favorite variations of Ash, they have their favorite companions. Some people like Brock, some people like Silent, some people like Clement.
Advanced Generation Ash.
And you know what? I will play devil's advocate here and say, was her appearance completely pointless? No, because she actually had things to offer, like the spinning combos and stuff. But I guess that just wasn't justifiable enough for her character, because it felt like it was just a lot of, we've done this before, but we got to put all of other characters' traits into this one character. So yeah, that's pretty much my thing. I'll rant later when it's my turn again.
Okay. So that's I think we'll start off simple, and I think we have to get it out of the way because this is the issue. This is the issue she has to deal with out the gate. The blatant comparisons to May. May, it's hard because May had more of a development to go through, and it was the anime's first time writing a character as a main like that. Dawn starts off somewhat similar, but her issues more so. But she's set up differently because it's a commonplace thing. So I guess the first thing to get into is, do you think that Dawn improved on anything that May dealt with during her run? And if so, what things did she not do as well, I guess? So let's start there, Bali.
Okay. It's so hard. You know what? You know what the biggest issue though is with comparing them? Is that Diamond and Pearl, well, Advanced Generation and Diamond and Pearl, ironically, people put they're like a package deal because of the continuity between them, and they're kind of like a nice. They seal up the other two series nicely until we get Best Wishes, which basically it totally reroutes the entire
soft
series.
reboot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, they're very different. So that's why it's just so hard to compare. Like,
Okay, then let's focus on the differences then. What things does Dawn do differently than May that you like?
I think she had a lot more confidence. I think she actually had more. I think May got overconfident when once I think there was a point where she had won like a bunch of contests, and it was the one where she went right in with Bulbasaur, and I think she like yelled at it during the contest, and then she lost, and then she fought with Ash, and there was that whole thing, and that was much later on in the series. Dawn, I think, had this overconfidence from the fact that she knew that she was her mother's protege. Despite, I will agree with you, Tyrone, despite not knowing, because I think that in the beginning she was like, oh, this is my first time seeing a Pokemon battle. And I was like, what?
What? Your mother's been doing them on TV for years?
So, no, I agree. That fell flat. And I was disappointed because, and we didn't get to really see that with May. I think this is more what I was hoping for in terms of May's development versus Dawn's development. Where with May, Norman was already a gym leader, but since May went to the contest through the contest route, we never got to see that. That whole thing of her versus her dad of being an experience while he's a gym leader. That was more Ash's. Ash kind of took the lead on that.
I mean, that's a fair argument. I mean, because even with just that as a base argument, your dad's a gym leader. It's not like you shouldn't be somewhat familiar with Pokemon battles and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Although I don't remember.
I will admit.
I don't think, I forget, and I may have forgotten. Did Norman have that rule about how he doesn't let his kids see his gym battles, or am I misremembering that?
Oh.
I don't remember.
You might be right.
I think he preferred them not to because we got that whole Max situation.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
But he's for another day.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother rant.
Yeah, his aggression towards Max is on some next level.
I mean, well, you got to look at how he handles his dad losing versus how like Bonnie handled her brother losing, and then anyway.
All right, we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah. But I will admit, Polly, on your end, I will say you did hit the nail on May's flaw with her overconfidence part, because I remember May got her first ribbon actually, and she went to like this one town, I can't remember what it was, and she kept showing it off. It was towards Petalburg. It was, I think they were close to Petalburg. And when she was close to Petalburg, she was sort of just flailing her ribbon along, going off the fact that she won her first contest. And I could see that overconfidence that May had continued onwards towards the rest of the series. But yeah, you can continue.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I did like Dawn's arc in that she started out kind of as overconfident, and then she went through all these losses, and she became depressed. Whereas I think they actually, well, never mind. I
Damn
don't
it.
want to
No,
jump
You
to
go ahead and say
conclusions.
it.
No,
Yeah.
go ahead. We're gonna
Go ahead. This is your spot.
we're
No,
gonna try to
they
get
but
everything
she
anyway.
even on Bulbapedia, it's like Dawn became depressed, and it's true. Like she was crying, and um, she just wasn't herself until the Wallace Cup. And I think that the Wallace Cup is actually my favorite arc in the entire series. I could watch it a million times and never get tired of it. And I know there are a lot of people who hate what happened that Dawn beat May, but well, spoilers, obviously, for people watching who've never seen it. But I liked it because I thought that was a good turning point for her. And yeah, I'm just kind of going down. Okay, so for people watching, just a disclaimer: I am in the middle of a rewatch of Diamond and Pearl. There's a few chunks that I haven't seen, so I might be on the losing end of these two. But I still want to defend her because I think Dawn had a lot of good points, and
And to be fair, I haven't rewatched Dr. Pro in a while, so it's not like I'm running off of the most vivid of memories. I mean, Dr. Pro in its entirety was like my down period with Pokemon, like games, anime, everything. I
mhm.
was just kind of, I can't. So I didn't. There was a good chunk that I missed, particularly because Dr. Pro has a bunch of fucking filler in it that drove me insane. Um,
That's true.
the
It took a whole year to get to the 8th gym badge.
it was not a fun watching period.
Mhm.
My only concern, because I don't have an issue with the depression she went through. I think my issue was how long it was. It was like I think Ash had already gotten what, his third or fourth gym badge. Cause I know at least the third because she ended up pep talking Maylene, right?
Yeah.
With the whole Lucario thing, and she was still going through her own shit during that time. Like,
Yeah,
and I think my issue was it took so long, and then of course it ended with the Wallace Cup, which boiled down to her beating May, which of course, as my fandom would say, was bullshit because because May's better than that. How dare you? That's a biased thing. But I also just think May was a more experienced trainer, so it made no sense that a girl coming out of depression was. I get the idea they were going for that when Dawn's focused and on her game, she can be just as threatening as any high level uh, uh, contest
Coordinator.
Yeah, coordinator.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word. I get the idea they were going for. I just don't feel like it was really fair to throw her at May like that. I think at the same time she had lost so much, they were like, we gotta let her win at the end of this, but we can't. Honestly, it was a lose-lose situation. May was good enough that you knew she was going to end up in the finals.
Writing May into the story unfortunately doomed May.
Yeah, as far as that fight is concerned, yeah.
Right, as far as that fight.
I think they could have done a little bit like it would have been cool if they showed that May had maybe a struggle with, and this is something I've always wanted to see, with competing in super contests for the first time. Whereas, let's say Dawn or Serena going to Hoenn and or Kanto and competing in regular contests, and having to like, kind of get used to the environment there, where it's more natural, less flashy. Um, so
So like each region has different variants of contests, and like because X and
Yeah.
Y's is very well, I don't even know if we consider X and Y's as
yeah, we
contests.
don't. But I figure the performances, and plus she's just starting out. But I also just wanted to add that I think the whole thing of it taking so long for Dawn to kind of get out of that depression phase was, I think it was more of a Diamond and Pearl issue more so than a Dawn issue, because even with other things, like
Oh yeah, the whole
what
series.
badge? Yeah, what badge did it take like months on end
Oh,
for Ash
it
to
was
get?
it was the eighth gym, but wasn't was it? Am I also thinking of Fantina,
Fantine, yeah.
where they
Yeah.
like they passed their city once, but they didn't
Hard
fight.
home, yeah.
They didn't fight her because I think they went to go fight Crash or Wake,
That was dumb.
And then the second time they come back, and I don't even think she's at the gym, or it was something. It was
I
something.
think what happened, yeah, because they had to replicate the platinum.
Because I hate
they
game.
yeah, they replicated platinum, but they also had to replicate the fact that in Diamond and Pearl it takes an extremely long time to get to Fantina, which is why in platinum they reversed the order in which the gems are fought. So you fight Fantina when you hit Heart Home.
Yeah, like and that's a fair statement that it's a Diamond and Pearl issue. But it doesn't really change the watching experience, I think, unfortunately. I think that's the big issue. It's like, yeah, I can recognize that it probably is just Diamond and Pearl in general, having annoying long gaps of nothing going on. Or not really nothing, but like no real progress being made. Because it wasn't just with Dawn. It's just that it, to me, ended up hurting her. Because it was like, now I gotta watch like I forgot how many episodes it was. It was a long stretch of episodes.
It was a large bulk,
It was a long stretch of episodes where I'm just watching Dawn depressed in the background. And I'm just like, I don't care. It's also ironic considering her catchphrase is not to worry. Or no need to worry, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Yeah.
And I think, what was it? She won her first... It was in her first contest or her first two contests she won? I think she won her first... I know she won her first one, and then that's where the cockiness came from. And then she got punished hard, and then that's when the depression hit. Because she lost like 2 contests in a row. It just kind of just soured my experience on her. It almost felt like we didn't get to know her character that much before she was depressed. Because she won her first contest, and then like it was like her second or third contest afterwards, the depression hits, and it kind of took me out of the enjoyment of her.
The depression hits.
Yeah, I mean that's when the depression hits. I feel like there needs to be a meme where we take a picture of Dawn crying. This is what
relatable.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Everything changed when I lost the contest. That's what happened.
Right.
It was just I don't know.
Well, here's my take on Dawn in terms of that, because you just brought up one of the things when you said no need to worry. I think one of the biggest problems with what happened with me and my enjoyment of this character was the dub, because I watched Diamond and Pearl via English. I didn't get to watch. I didn't start watching Pokemon in Japan yet until Best Wishes, because in Best Wishes it was a lot easier for me to watch the Japanese version of Pokemon. They had like the internet was more frequent. There was more things being uploaded on it. Back then, Diamond and Pearl came out in 2008, where the internet existed, but it was a rough one. The internet was like either you have wireless internet or you have broadband landline internet.
Yeah, like it wasn't I mean, I put it this way, we were past the AOL days, but not by much.
So we were reaching this moment where like online was scarce.
And this was the time where people really wanted to watch it in Japanese because
because
of the dub.
Because that 2008, I was like 17, I think. Yeah, I was like.
And the dub did not do Dawn any favors.
Hell like, no, I can't stand her English voice.
Yeah, her English voice is very campy.
Really?
It's very.
I don't like it.
It's very campy. It's very like Piplup, use Bumblebee. It's high pitch.
I actually,
it's just
maybe I like it because I think her English VA, I've watched interviews and she has a lot of passion, which I find that to be really endearing.
I don't blame her voice actor.
Oh, yeah,
I blame
the
direction. I blame the direction.
I think it's always going to be like that, but I will say I like it a lot better than Iris and Serena and the current Sun and Moon girls. It's like,
I still blame the direction because the style in which characters talk ever since the Pokemon Company got the license versus 4Kids talking, that it takes a dramatic effect.
Like I said, Diamond and Pearl had a lot of dumb things about it that wasn't even really its fault directly. The fact that the dub had switched, so we were getting used to a new Ash, a new Brock, a new Dawn. On top of everything else that was going on at that time, and to me it was like a lot of bad crap stacked on top of each other, which is crazy because people were so hyped about. This is when I keep hearing about a lot of older fans getting back into the games, and I'm like, how? But it was a weird period.
Online was the thing.
That was what it was.
While online was bad, at the start.
At
It
least you
was
had
still
it.
online.
At least you
Yeah,
had
at
it.
least you still had it. So, and that unfortunately gave Dawn a bad start from me because I had to hear this campy girl talk campy, and I don't blame her voice
I
actor.
hate
I
that
just
fucking
blame the
catchphrase.
direction.
That's the other problem.
Yeah, I hate the direction in which they gave her, and I felt like that, like having her have that catchphrase is forced. Because I don't know if she used that catchphrase as much in the Japanese version, but I know that in the English version they forced it.
She's also she's like the first main character in the Pokemon animes up until that point to have a catchphrase. So
Yeah, I mean,
it felt out of place to begin with.
May said take the stage, but that was like a
But
that was sort of like that was Ash's I choose you. Yeah, that's Ash's I choose you.
That was like a battle
basically.
phrase, whereas like Dawn would say it no matter what the situation. She also had like, and I guess this, and I guess we can get into it. It's her character, her personality. One of the things that annoyed me about her from jump was the weird kind of preppy pretty girl attitude she had from the get-go. Like, what was it? She got annoyed when Patsurichu shocked her because it messed up her hair. And it felt...
Okay, I have a counter to that.
Go ahead, go for it.
It's okay.
Objection!
Okay.
I don't have the sound effect, Tyrone. I can't do that in editing.
Sorry, go ahead, Polly.
See, I thought that was, number one, refreshing, because Misty and May, and May wasn't really that as tomboyish as Misty, but...
No, Misty is the most tomboyish we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Misty, that's her personality trait.
I guess as a girl, maybe I personally liked growing up and seeing... there's a comparison to Ash and Brock, just a more feminine character. Especially since Ash had no female rivals to begin with, and the characters of the day were pretty lackluster, to be honest. But I noticed a few things in this series that I really liked, where it was this kind of beauty is skin deep message, where a big one I noticed was when Dawn got the Grimer at the summer camp, and I love that because they could have given her any old like cutesy Pokemon.
They could have given her Jigglypuff.
Yeah, but they got her. But she got a Grimer, and I thought that was really interesting. She really bonded with that Grimer, whereas, what's her name? Had trouble. Was it Angie,
May?
I think?
Oh no, you're talking about at the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angie.
Yeah, during camping it up. Yeah.
Angie, I think it is.
So yeah, I almost wish she had caught that Grimer and had come with her, so that maybe she could use it. And then going along with that, when Apom, I think it was still an Apom, or maybe it was Ambipom, I forget. When I think it was the contest that she lost because the appeal, she made it really flashy to the point where you couldn't even see
the
Apom.
Pokemon.
Yeah. So I think that was a big part of... It was kind of like a nice contrast to like this preppy, feminine image she had, but then this lesson of,
So you're saying her character arc was that she started off beauty and preppy and cutesy, but in the journey she had learned to get down and dirty.
Yeah, and you can see where she has these genuine qualities, but like from that, because she could have been snobby and have said, "Oh, well, I got a Grimer. That's pretty gross," but she didn't.
Right.
I mean, I can understand that. I guess, and I wonder if that's a gender thing, because obviously part of the reason why I enjoyed... I mean, I don't necessarily think Misty is insanely written well, but I still enjoy Misty for what she is, and obviously I like May. I guess because as a guy, it was weird for us, at least for me when I was younger, it was weird to see tomboyish girls. Not saying they weren't around or anything. I just wasn't exposed to a lot of them. So it was kind of refreshing to see a girl... I guess because that's the way it always happens, and a lot of anime or just media in general... They like to represent girls as like the prissy, wears skirts all the time, doesn't like to get dirty, that kind of stuff. So it was refreshing to have girls in Pokemon who weren't on that shit from the get-go, whereas Dawn was the first girl who was, and it just felt like to me it felt like a regression, because I've always been more of a fan of like and I mean, hell, that's part of the reason why I like Iris so much, is Iris is also very tomboyish and whatnot. So that might. I wonder if that's a gender thing. I'd be curious if how many other girls if think like that or not, or if that's just a person to person thing. That was at least my
Yeah.
thought process. The reason why I didn't care for it as much.
Yeah. No, I think that's like a personal preference too. I mean, I really like her design. I think she's like really pretty, and I mean, I love all the Poke Girls, but Dawn's design is like one of my favorites. Maybe.
Can I? And that's where I come in, I guess. Can I say a slight?
Here we go.
Can I say a slight thing
I love
about-
it. Tyro always makes his it's I don't know if it's the tone of your voice sometimes where it's just like, oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm very dramatic, but I just wanted to make a slight thing that irks me about Dawn's design, and I think people have actually brought this up before. What weather is she dressed for exactly? Because Dawn has like these boots, these little rain slicker boots. She's got this skirt on, which means she's ready for warmer weather. Plus, it's connected to a short sleeve type of situation. It's a dress, but then she's got the scarf and the scully, and it's a lot. It's just a lot for me to really like prepare for.
To be fair, it is an inconsistent design.
But
to be fair, it also fits Dawn's very fashionistas.
Did you ever? I had to show you.
Oh god! Oh yeah, the pants from the Learning League.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they gave her pants because of the Learning League thing, right? Because they didn't want to expose kids to dim legs, but it's just I don't know. It's just I don't know. Dawn's design has always bugged me because it's like
I think because Dawn's design is, and then like I said, it fits with what Paulie was saying before. She was very fashion heavy. I think what made it more interesting is if she kind of went through a change somewhat like Serena did, where her design changed when her character changed. It would have been a nice correlation.
Yeah.
But that's kind of that's fan wishing.
Or if she had changed as like the weather. I know Best Wishes is the thing that kind of did the whole season situation, but it would have been cool for her to in the hotter areas wear slimmer clothes, and then the winter areas go into that platinum outfit that she had.
They had the jacket, right?
They did the coat for platinum. They did the platinum stuff.
She has the jacket and she has the outfit because of platinum, so I said there was no point in not using it, but
right, like I feel like they could have given her a spring outfit, a summer outfit, a winter outfit, and a fall outfit.
Because she would be the character who would have those kind of outfits.
Right, like I feel like Dawn would do that, so it just baffles me.
To be fair, as a fan, I wish they would do that for the whole cast in general, personally.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but it baffles me that they had to throw in all of these different weather conditions on her outfits, and just that's the thing. And obviously, she changed a lot during her actual contest. Because that's when she really switched dresses, but
that was probably that was kind of the appeal of contests anyway, just to see some of the characters in different outfits.
I like that.
Just to get some variety.
And that's the weird part too. Is like I feel like her Pokemon have become more interesting than her in that sense. Like Baneri, Dawn's Baneri when you see it because it's wearing the little orange dress thingy.
Yeah. Well,
the
other thing, I guess that actually that's a good transition. We can do team comparisons and how each of them had to deal with the development of each of their teams because
because that kind of delves into their characters too.
Yeah, because I think the biggest problem I have with Dawn's is that Dawn's team is kind of, I don't want to say uninteresting, but they weren't really engaging. Like Baneri's gimmick is that she has a crush on Pikachu. Piplup's kind of.
I love that shit.
I mean, to be fair, it's
cute.
I'm not denying it's cute, but it's also not interesting that means Baneri's development is entirely based on Pikachu saying yes or no to it, or even acknowledging it. And Baneri didn't have anything outside of that. That was my issue. Her Pachirisu's probably the more interesting one that she has because it's kind of a wild child. And in some ways, I look at it as a precursor to Emolga.
I was just gonna say it's a prototype Emolga.
That's what it reminds me a lot of. But I actually like Emolga and Best Wishes, and Pachirisu didn't really get on my nerves.
So annoyed about Ambipom.
The dumbest shit. It was
because
I feel it's low-key disrespectful.
Because Ambipom was like one of the biggest connecting threads from AG to DP too, which that pissed me off.
I guess to be fair, we probably should address Bleezel before getting into Ambipom
Oh
because
yeah.
that is technically the one she called. I'm so angry at this. Part of me. All right, so here's my thing. I like the concept of them trading Pokemon, but I think Bleezel was a more interesting idea on Dawn's team because he was so different from like what she had caught up to that point. Because he was definitely like the tough guy, kind of the hard knuck, and compared to the Baneri and Pachirisu she had in Piplup, it kind of offset the cuteness to me. And then you trade it and you give me Ambipom, who doesn't have the same kind of feel to it. And honestly, Ambipom didn't feel that different when Dawn had it anyway. So I don't know. It just, and then of course I'm missing, was it Togekiss and Mamoswine?
Yeah.
Mamoswine, my biggest issue with the whole Mamoswine situation is that essentially it was just like, oh, we're gonna have someone that's like Charizard for this gen. Here you go. And it didn't really feel that different of a story. I think that, and to be fair, I think that's more of an issue with Pokemon reusing stories. I think Best Wishes had a similar problem where it's like, oh, we got to give you a Pokemon you can't control. Like Iris had, what was it?
Iris had Escadrille and Dragonite.
They had two Pokemon had the same thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's just not interesting anymore because I've seen it too many times.
See, I think that felt more like a
technically Emolga, too.
Charizard
Say
story
what?
because, oh no,
No, go ahead.
the only thing is that I didn't mind it as much for Mamoswine because this is the first time it was used in a contest setting, whereas May didn't really have that issue. With Iris, I was annoyed because it was the same thing as Charizard, where she was just a regular trainer. I'm just like, this again.
Yeah, Iris's whole team had that problem though. But the reason that worked well with me and Iris is because
I knew we were
because
gonna
her
get into
whole
this. I feel like
her whole
we're gonna shift
her whole
focus from
team-
May and Dawn to Iris and Dawn.
well, yeah, because her whole team was like that. Emolga would use Volt Switch even though Iris didn't want her to. Togekiss. I'm switching back and forth between the Pokemon. Okay, so Emolga would use Volt Switch. Escadrille just wouldn't listen for a while, and then Dragonite wouldn't listen. But that made it all the more better when you see her towards the end in the Dragon Village actually controlling her whole team
I think
to hold down Hydreigon.
And I'm going to bring it up because I like Iris a lot. Iris's whole theme was that Iris was full of shit. I mean, that was kind of the running.
Right.
That was her major problem in the beginning. Because in the beginning, she used to talk down to Ash. The one thing I hate is that she never stopped saying the little kid thing to Ash. That's what drove me nuts. But like her whole arc in Best Wishes is that she starts off with this weird overconfidence, but she really, in the beginning of Best Wishes, is a worse trainer than Ash is at that point in time. And the entirety of Best Wishes is her getting to the level of like competence. So when she hits the Dragon Village, you feel like, yes, she has finally. That's why the Dragon stuff hit me so hard, because I was like, she worked her ass off that whole saga to become good. And when she got up there and she was taught, and the whole thing with Drayton, when we learned her back. I love Dawn. I mean, I love Iris. I feel like that was a full culmination, but that's also part of me thinks I'm a little biased, but at the same time, I think that's a genuine transition. I guess it bothered me with Dawn because I already had a bunch of things about Dawn I didn't care for, so it kind of was just like another thing on the tick box. And then I guess the other Pokemon we need to address is probably Togekiss, who...
Yeah, I was just going to say, with me and the Dawn situation, Mamoswine disobeying her, Pachirisu didn't disobey her, but it was chaotic. It was already... So we had already established that Dawn has one Pokemon that's a little off the rails. She's got Piplup and Baneri, which are perfectly obedient. But then you got this little, zippity Pachirisu that's all over the place. But once we got the Mamoswine disobeying her, I was just like, okay, they're doing a similar thing to Charizard, which now that I look at it, Dawn has a lot of similarities to Ash, but that goes into another problem that I'll discuss in a minute. And then we got Togekiss. And Togekiss was doing whatever it wants to too, but at that point I was already over it because Mamoswine had already did that. So we don't need another saga of her trying to pin down Togekiss.
I actually didn't like Togekiss.
I don't like anyone
because
Togekiss.
I think it came so late too.
It was so late. It was so late, and it was around the time they got rid of Ambipom. So you were like,
"Yep." I was bitter.
That was a terrible trade-off. It was
And
terrible.
like I said, the Ambipom. Can I touch on the Ambipom for a second?
No, go ahead,
Yeah.
because I feel like we're gonna dwell on that anyway.
I feel like Ambipom's trade away was probably low key disrespectful because Ambipom
No, ain't no
being
low
on
key. It
Dawn's
is
team.
disrespectful. Fuck the low key.
Yeah, Ambipom being on Dawn's team was the connection that she had with Ash. They shared a Pokemon. It was the first time ever that two main characters decided to trade their Pokemon. So I felt like with Ambipom being on Dawn's team and her doing all this work to make it better was such a punch in the face when Dawn goes, yeah, I'll go ahead and give it away so that it can learn ping pong tricks.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I feel like if
what?
it was, I think it was on top of everything else. It was the reason why it got sent away that made it so much worse. Because if it had been like a legit thing, because the ping pong thing, it was like introduced in an episode, and then boom, we're done with it by Ambipom. It just,
I feel like if Ambipom had went away to perfect its contest moves and then came back during the Grand Festival, that would have been a better use of Ambipom.
I guess that's the other thing. If it returned like they do with Ash's Pokemon for the League, I probably would have been a little bit more. I probably could have dealt with it a little bit better.
And we didn't even talk about her Cyndaquil. Poor Cyndaquil.
Is there a reason to talk about her Cyndaquil?
It exists because Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out. That's it. That's the only
I will
reason.
say, I know, yeah. I will say the only thing I liked was the Fire Ice Chandelier. That was cool.
That was pretty
and
cool.
how she took such a long time to really hone it, and it worked in the end. But other than that, I never really found Cyndaquil or Togekiss very interesting. And you're right, became late. Whereas May, it's like... Actually, I had this issue with May, too. I didn't like May's Squirtle. Because it was late. And it was because...
It was Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Yeah, Ash already had a Squirtle and a Bulbasaur.
And also, because her Squirtle isn't that interesting, it's literally just...
It cries.
It's just the
cries.
baby. It's the baby.
And also because... I just wanted, I don't know, I just felt like she was on this journey from Hoenn from the beginning, and like that would have been cool to see Hoenn Pokemon use in a Kanto Grand Festival, but that's going into May.
I mean, we're gonna do it. We might as well, because we're gonna dress her team just at a fair comparison.
Yeah, sure.
We got her Blaziken, which I think was a really nice change of pace. Because I guess that's the other thing I probably haven't brought up yet. We didn't really talk about Piplup like we were supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a reason for that. Because I don't fucking like her Piplup at all.
Oh,
You
snap.
don't? Oh.
It is so annoying to me. I don't know what it is, because he's not that different. But he just drives me up the wall. Because he's either...
I feel like Piplup was pre-Oshawott.
Yeah, but he's not funny.
Yeah.
He's not funny. He's supposed to...
Like you can only hit it with Draco Meteor so many times.
Yeah.
It's one of those... And on top of everything else, I don't fucking care for the evolutionary line on top of everything else. So I think that might be part of my issue with him. I don't care about his... I hate Empoleon. Absolutely hate Empoleon. I just don't like that design. I don't like that typing. So I think part of my issue with Piplup is already that I don't care for his evolutionary line. The other issue is I don't find Piplup entertaining. But the one thing I want to, and that's kind of the one thing I like about May, is that even if you didn't like Torchic, she didn't have Torchic for long. Actually, is May the only one that got a fully? Well, no, I guess Serena. Serena would be the other one, who had her cute starter Pokemon actually fully evolved.
No, it's Sadabraction. I don't think it evolved into Delphox.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm giving her some points here, Tyrone. Leave it alone. Because but
that's important detail.
It is. Hey, listen, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying. I think
one thing I like about May's team is that it was a mix of like cutesy Pokemon and tough Pokemon.
Yeah, because because Torchic started off cute and then became a badass.
Yeah.
You had Skitty,
Beautifly and Skitty. Yeah.
Skitty just downright adorable to me. So I was perfect. Also, because I've heard people don't like Delcatty's design.
No.
Really?
I've heard people say that.
I mean, it's nice, but it doesn't fit May.
Yeah, I actually think Skitty looks better for May. Although I think Skitty brings up another issue with May, is that I don't know if you guys remember the saga where she essentially kept relying on assists too much throughout
Yeah.
like a good chunk of, I think it was like,
Well, May relied on luck a lot, like
that was,
metronome,
yeah,
assist.
she gambled a lot and it kind of hurt her. So it sometimes feels like her victories didn't feel like they were earned as much. So I will give that is an issue May had as a character that unfortunately did not really go away, because if it wasn't assist, it was metronome. I do like the fact they gave her a Munchlax, because I think it was an interesting comparison. I mean, contrast for her. We've already talked about Squirtle. I feel like a Beautifly.
Bulbasaur.
Yeah,
or
Bulbasaur too.
rather.
That was, I don't see why they gave her 2 of the Kanto starters. I feel like that was kind of unnecessary.
Fire Red and Leaf Green.
I know why. I'm just saying I don't see. It just did to me. It didn't thematically work, and her Bulbasaur suffers the same.
I like
problem.
how it was kind of like a nice what's the word? It reflected her and Ash. Ash being a mentor and Ash's Bulbasaur being a mentor.
I see what you're doing.
But the Bulbasaur itself, I was like,
I was kind of over
I don't know if it was really.
I think the only thing I thought was kind of cute is when May's Bulbasaur met Ash's Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
That's some pokey fandom shit.
The thing about me, if we're gonna switch back to Dawn, the thing about me and the Piplup, I don't like all the similarities that this Piplup was trying to be Pikachu so badly. Travels outside of its Pokeball, check. Protected Dawn against a swarm of Pokemon when they first met, check. Doesn't want to evolve, check. I'm like, be your own Pokemon, damn it. That's my issue with Piplup. My issue with Piplup is that not only was it trying to be a comedic Pokemon, it was also trying to be Pikachu. And it's just like, because when I saw it outside of its Pokeball, I thought, okay, it's going to be outside of its Pokeball sometimes, and it'll go back in its Pokeball. So, no, it's just outside of its Pokeball the whole time. Okay. Well, it's going to evolve into Primplup at least. Don't evolve into Empoleon, because that looks weird. But it's going to evolve into Primplup. Nope. Dawn got a whole rival that has a Primplup, so we got to keep this thing a Piplup. It doesn't want to evolve, so we'll at least make it hold an Everstone.
Didn't Barry have an Empoleon?
Barry and
Barry,
Kenny. They both did.
Oh yeah, because Kenny's evolved.
That's
you got ambushed with that line.
Yeah. I was just gonna say a lot of Dawn's rivalries come strictly from her childhood, a childhood that we don't really get to see.
I think
so. It's just like,
go ahead.
So it's just like all these rivals come out of the woodworks because of Dawn's childhood. It just, I don't know, it bugged me. It was better when she had a natural rival like Nando.
I loved Ursula, but I just wish Ursula had come in a little bit earlier, and I almost kind of wish Ursula was the main rival just because she was so mean. Where it's like her and Zoe, and it's like, and like a lot of people actually ship Dawn and Zoe, and I see why, just because of.
Oh yeah, I feel like the anime wouldn't even try. I think the anime was literally made for those fans because it was like, they're. And to be fair,
and Zoe's a very lesbianist character.
Hey, listen, chill out. I mean,
I can actually say I love
that's Pokemon being progressive. Goddamn it, that's what that is.
No, and I love Zoe. Like I really do. In fact, Zoe versus Drew is the #1 battle that if I have a wishful thinking battles. So I have like Gary versus Paul, Zoe versus Drew. Like,
we will be here for 6 hours. I'll tell you right now. There are so many fan fights I want to see.
Can I ask you a question then, Polly? Because this kind of dives into Dawn's character. Now, earlier I praised May because at first she lost against Drew. She got her butt kicked, but she eventually beat Drew. She became better. Dawn loses to Zoe in the Grand Festival. How
dare you? That's my response.
How dare I?
No.
He's talking about the series. He's talking about the Pokemon series.
I'm sorry.
Like, how dare you, series, not have Dawn overcome her rival? Because Zoe was obviously her plateau.
Her main rival.
I think it all comes down to whether or not I really liked the battle. I thought it was a close. When it was a really close call, and it's different from how it's like everyone hated the Unova League because that battle sucked. And it was the first round with Trip, and that just made... I think that's why Trip is just so unlikable, which is really sad for him.
Trip was unlikable to begin with.
But, like... this was so... And it was so aesthetically pleasing, too. What was it? Zoe's Gallade, and then... Piplup on top of, the Toga Kiss doing... What was it? The Peck combination, and... I don't know. I thought it was a really close battle, so I guess I didn't seem to mind it much. If Dawn really, like, was just doing badly and it was just, like, a real one-sided fight, then I would have been really pissed. But I feel like this was like an Ash Sawyer sort of situation.
Yeah. God,
where it's actually, that's one of my favorite battles in the entire series.
But at least at one point, I think Sawyer does beat Ash. It's mostly because Ash and Greninja got cocky, but they do eventually beat Ash.
He only gets like one win, and that's it. Versus
Zoe. Ash wins where Ash completely annihilates Sawyer each time.
Yeah, and to me, just to kind of hit the rivals, I think May just generally had a better contrast of rivals that I think were represented in different ways. Like, for example, because Harley shows up a little later. People, it's weird. Harley has
I forgot about her little pervert. I love that. Her little pervert stalker.
So much.
Yeah.
It just but it's weird because I usually don't like characters like Harley, and for some reason Harley I get a kick out of Harley. It's particularly because Harley was essentially, because people always used to think of Drew as a jerk for whatever reason, and to be fair, he has his jerk moments, but Harley is literally a representation of a character who literally has no shame in a lot of different ways. Also like the fact that he used Cacturn, because that's a Pokemon I think that's kind of underrated in Gen 3.
Yeah.
But he was more of a, because I like the way he's introduced is he pretends to be friendly. He does that false face situation, and then essentially turns around and backstabs her. I think it's interesting to have May deal with a character who is willing to do those kinds of things, but isn't like an outright antagonist like most of the villainous characters in Pokemon are. I just thought that was a better contrast to Kenny, who I think serves... Kenny to me is like a waste of time. Zoe, I don't mind. I don't mind Zoe, and I have really no... Ursa, my issue with Ursa, she just comes too late in the series.
Yeah, Ursula's appearance
I think
really
Dawn
late.
ends up having an issue kind of like what Ash had in Unova, where you just start introducing characters way too late into the dang series.
Yeah, and then I feel like there's just there's no real individual value to their rivalry. It's Ursula literally borrows. She hears about the whole diamond dandruff or whatever, and then she uses that as ammo against Dawn. I'm like, can we be a little bit more original here? Like, maybe there's an actual reason for their rivalry besides her.
Yeah,
you know who I think
would have retread.
You know which character I would have kind of preferred she having a real rivalry with, and it would have helped the other girls' characters out a lot. And this is just fan stuff. I think this is probably like my favorite version of Jessie.
Yes,
one of my favorite versions of Jessie. Yeah, and she was actually pretty good in Diamond and Pearl.
I love Jessie and Diamond.
Because Jessalina. I'm sorry, it's Jessalina.
It changes a lot. I don't blame you for messing up the name. Because I like the idea they were bringing in with Gen 3, and then they kind of fully realized it in Gen 4, and I was like, just make her a legit rival for Dawn. Have it be an arc for Jessie, where Jessie wants to get better, not only because she wants to show off her own Pokemon. And it would have been a cool kind of growing experience that would have maintained throughout the entirety of the series.
And Jessie had already had experience with contests from the last one, so she actually legitimately was better in this one. Where, I think she had Sir Viper use Poison Sting, and then the Poison Tail on the Poison Stings to make the Poison Stings like these super spinny pin missiles. She was legitimately good in this one. It was almost kind of scary.
I don't know, maybe that's just me. I kind of felt bad that they didn't really expand upon that as much as I wanted them to. I mean, she still used a real fair bit. That's kind of like a fan fear, not fear. I guess what would you call that? Like a crack. I can't think of the term. Like a what if, I guess is what I.
Yeah, just a hypothetical.
Yeah. It's something I just felt like was missed potential.
I felt like with the dandruff DD thing or whatever, it felt like that was supposed to be like a retread of. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's an episode where May has a bad experience with Tentacool.
Oh yeah.
Because Norman tries to catch a tentacle and ends up like throwing Pokeballs at May. And when that slips through the cracks when Max talks about it to Harley, he exposes that weakness, which slows May down. And I feel like they tried to. Yeah, and right. And I feel like they tried to do that again in Diamond and Pearl, and it just came off weird because I don't even feel like it slowed Dawn down. I think it was just a slight inconvenience. It didn't hinder her progress.
And I guess that might be one of the other, and I think we've already kind of alluded and mentioned it a few times, that part of Diamond and Pearl, Dawn's issue, I don't know why I said it like that, Dawn's issue in Diamond and Pearl is the fact that we had already seen some of the tropes from Gen 3 with May. Because although they are different, they also have similarities. And I'm not saying everything they did was redundant, but there are some chunks where it's just kind of like, it feels like a retread and it kind of takes away from the moment. And to be fair, for someone who only watched Diamond and Pearl or watched Diamond and Pearl first, you wouldn't have those issues.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But
I want to say this too is like, now as far as like, I don't like Dawn. I've made that very clear. I don't like this character. But does that mean she had potential to not be to not be better? Absolutely not. When I see Dawn, I do see that there's potential in her. When like with the whole her mother thing, which I think her mother does kind of contribute to her journey as a, like, I remember there's one moment of Dawn I really do like. Dawn calls her mother to tell her about the contest, and her mother's like, you don't have to call home every time something happens. I don't know, that just felt real to me.
That just means I feel like that's more of you liking Dawn's mom more than
no like I'm saying I'm saying I like that because it did tell Dawn something. It helped her character arc a little bit because she realized that she didn't have to go to her mom every time something did happen. Like, that was a moment of growth for her that I actually legitimately do like. But I don't see any other levels after that. I feel like Dawn more or less is the same trainer going in as she is going out, with the exception of, I caught a few more Pokemon and I know a few more tactics and I make Pokemon spin, which she brought up a lot.
God, I can't. It was one of those things that was cool in the moment.
Yeah, like when Ash copied it, I was like, yeah.
It's a cool concept and I like it. But it was so much of a focus of
Good night, kids.
Hold on a second.
These are the moments we cut out in post-production, folks.
We're experiencing technical.
No, the problem is I can cut out the sequence. I wonder if it's still going to show her icon with the mute symbol on it when I finish doing the editing. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to get creative, folks. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
It's fine.
My grandparents made an appearance.
It's fine.
It's okay.
More than likely, I'm gonna cut it out anyway, so the people won't know about it. So
hi, grandparent.
No, Taro, we're cutting this out. We're not going to put this unless I care to put bloopers in it. I don't know.
That's okay. You can.
I don't know if people care about watching bloopers for an hour-long podcast. We'll see. No, I was just going to finish my point. The spinning thing, I like the idea of it, but it becomes such an integral part of the damn saga. I kind of got sick of it. Like, if he had changed tactics a bit, and this is kind of, I don't want to go too far into this because it gets into my issue with Ash in this gen, although I think this is one of his better gens, but the spinning, I was so sick of by the time we got to the league, only because it was used so much through the whole arc, but that's just me. I'm good. Sorry.
That's actually, I wish I could comment on that, but that's actually the one thing I haven't seen yet. I don't know how they got to that point. I just know that it was used. later on.
Oh, it's used to death. You don't stop seeing it.
Right,
Yeah.
which is definitely weird because I remember Dawn, when she still had Weasel, wanted to make a combo out of Weasel's ice beam attack, but it just ended up freezing itself. Then Ash got the Weasel and he wound up using the damn combo, which made me wonder, what the hell are you doing, Dawn? You're a coordinator. You're supposed to be good at this shit.
Yeah, just the general gist of it is that Dawn was using the spin first, and then that's what gave Ash the idea to start using it in his fighting style, which I think he uses, and this is when he fights Paul. Spoiler alert, he loses to Paul every time until the League. I think the League is the only time he beats him.
Yeah, the League's the only time he beats him.
And the spin is used pretty much the moment he learns, he gets the idea to use it, he uses it in every main fight. And it just got jarring. It's bad because I like the Paul and Ash arc, but God, I wish he had switched strategies at some point, or at least
Was that the counter shield thing, or is that something?
that's a slight variation of it.
Yeah, the counter shield. Like when Chimchar does the spin on the ground, it makes that giant fiery whip everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a variation of it because I think Dawn wasn't using it in the same way.
I
Yeah.
feel the viewers are probably like, they've seen more than I have.
To be fair, I don't know how many people go. Well, I say this, and then I'll be proven wrong in the comments. I was like, I don't know how many people go back and rewatch Diamond and Pearl like that. But I've been proven wrong before in the comments, so maybe I should just shut my mouth.
It's gonna be a journey for me, but I do. It's, I don't know. It's an adventure. I feel like Diamond and Pearl are a hot mess that either you hate or you love. Piece.
Yeah, surprisingly, I feel like me and Tyron are more on the losing side because most people I hear talk about Diamond and Pearl talk very positively about Diamond and Pearl.
Usually when I hear people talk positive about Diamond and Pearl, I hear that they like the League of Diamond and Pearl, though. Because the League, I will admit, is like one of the best leagues.
Oh,
I will admit.
It's a good league.
That it's a good league.
They
But
did
you
it,
can look
Ash.
at what you're... I'm saying, look at what all you got to go through to get to the League, though.
It's such a drag. It's such a drag.
I think. Well, that also. I feel like there's just pros and cons of it. Like, for example, when we were talking about Jesse before.
Yeah.
And I know this is going on a tangent, but
I mean, we're gonna do it anyway. It's fine.
it's just like Diamond Pearl Jesse is, and Team Rocket in general is one of my. I thought they had a great role in it, but at the same time, the filler really sucked with them.
Yeah, see,
But the episodes that focused on them were great, especially the one where James went ahead and Jesse was sick and he participated in the contest for her and he won, or they brought back Jezebel, or the one with the Metagross, which actually a lot of people who ship Jesse and James say that's one of the best moments, where they're like, if there's if we don't make it, like we die here and there's like an afterlife, let's meet again there. And like that was one of the best. I don't know, that was a really great moment.
Didn't they have a Jesse episode that was basically the Bye Bye Butterfree, but with duck stocks
Yes,
instead?
yeah,
they
that
did
one
it.
too. Yeah, there were a lot of great episodes, but when you look at the whole of it, it's just like, but
It's like it's like finding the diamond in the rough. No pun intended. I know that's ironic considering the region.
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. I was trying to avoid it. I couldn't do it. It's fine. But it's one of those. It's one of those things where it's like every 50 episodes I get like one really good Team Rocket episode, and I'm like, was it worth the 50 episodes? No, it was probably like worth like 5, and that was about it. If I went 5 episodes and got to it, cool. 50, yeah, I don't care so much. It's part of the reason why actually I like the. I think I like when Jesse and James give up not Survivor, Arbok and Weezing, and then they that episode in Hoenn was one of my favorites for them.
Yeah, that was good.
Because it was a really heartfelt episode. I did want to touch on this a little bit because I remember you mentioning it in passing. How do you feel about Iris, Polly, out of curiosity?
she's not my favorite,
Well,
but
I
I don't.
figured
It's
that.
not that I don't like her.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't. Oh yeah, I feel like I don't know about much about. I just hated the. I don't know. The Dragonite thing turned me off. I just feel like she got like May and Dawn had like at least Dawn got development, whether like how well or not it was executed. Like she was on par with Ash. I felt like Iris and Silent, were they fell into this Brock and Misty sort of role again.
Well, I mean, that's
not. I would say not so much with Silent though, because Silent was proving to be competent long after
also,
his gym
I
battles.
wouldn't even say Iris to an extent, because and to be fair, I guess we need to address this. Dawn is to May what Iris is to Misty. It's obviously they were trying to carry the spirit of Misty with Black and White, just with Iris. Actually, in some cases, I would say with Brock too, because this is the first gen in a while where we didn't have Brock at all. Diamond Pearl is Brock's last appearance. I guess we forgot about that actually. So that's why she has the I want to be a Dragon Master, and Ice types do the same thing to her as Bugs did for Misty. They're carrying a lot of quirks, and they share the similarities. The reason, and partially, is because I like Black and White's pacing better in general. But my thing with Iris is that Iris goes through her own set of development issues. She has to address the issue she has with Excadrill. Her Axew gets... The only thing I don't like about her Axew gets absurd.
It gets overpowered.
It gets absurdly powerful so randomly. Oh yeah, by the way, I know Outrage now. Jesus Christ!
I know Dragon Rage, by the way.
Everything is.
I don't have.
The way you feel about Dawn is the way I feel.
Well, here's my thing.
That's part of why, bro. Because I remember you say. Because I remember. In passing, you mentioned, well, what happened if you compare Dawn to Iris? I prefer Iris over Dawn, but that's.
Here's my thing. Since I'm clearly the middleman when it comes to this particular topic on Iris, I feel like Iris was a better version of what Misty was. However, I do feel like there's some bits and pieces that Misty had that Iris didn't, that gives her some edges. Like, for example, Iris, for someone who loves Dragon-type Pokemon, who loves to be a Dragon Master, she only has 2 Dragon types, with the exclusion of the, I think she catches,
Hydreigon?
And she catches...
It was something really ridiculous. It wasn't Hydreigon?
She caught a Gibble.
Dino? Oh.
She caught Gibble later in a special.
That's what it was. It was Gibble.
She caught a Gibble later in the special. So she only
in the special she got it.
Yes, up to this point, she only has 3 Dragon Pokemon, 2 of which are at their lowest stages. The rest are just Pokemon that are there. The Excadrill and Dragonite are just... Excadrill and Emolga are just there. They have nothing to do with Dragon types or anything. Misty, give her as much crap as you want, at least as consistent.
Yeah.
But the only Pokemon that's not being a water type was her Togepi.
And to be fair, I think she suffers the same issues I think Dawn suffers in some aspects. Because Misty and May were first, when Iris and Dawn do things that are somewhat similar, it doesn't hit as hard because it's like, well, I've already seen it before. So it kind of takes away from it. The only reason why I say I personally like Iris better is because I feel like Iris's arc was way more consistent, and her rivals, and I think everything that she was doing aided in that development. Like, her rivals pushed her. The fact that her rival had a bear tick. I keep fucking up her Japanese and English name. It's Langley in Japanese.
Langley.
And I think it's Georgia in English.
I like Langley better, so I just forced myself to learn.
I'm from Georgia. That's why I like Georgia.
Really? Yeah. See, now I know. I for some reason I thought you were from Florida.
Hey, look, it's fine. You were literally a state off. I think we would still give you an A- in the class.
Well, so still on the East Coast, okay.
Yeah, it's literally Florida is the state under me, so technically.
Unlike some people, Richie.
God damn!
Dang! You're here.
Tyrone.
Hey, I'm sorry. I live in Missouri.
Yeah, to be fair, Tyrone, you have like one of the weirder states where it's like.
Yeah, I'm in the central area.
It's like, who the fuck talks about Missouri? And I'm
I'm sorry.
I feel like Paula's going to go through the same level of Richie's development where Richie didn't talk and then Paula didn't talk. And then when Richie started talking, he got reckless. So
yeah, well, now here's my other thing. On the flip side of Misty and Iris's argument, while Misty was more consistent, this unfortunately hurts her because she already had a full set of Pokemon at her debut, but the Pokemon's debut episodes were usually only limited to, I'm here for the water thing. I'm done with the water thing. Goldine, I'm here to swim. I'm not going to show up a lot because there is no body of water. Bye-bye. Like it was a lot of that, where at least we got to see Iris's Pokemon do stuff
Also,
because they were limited.
A lot of Missy's Pokemon have like no development except for
like
it's the later
I feel
ones
like
that get
Staryu, and then like Staryu was her only active Pokemon for real, and then when Psyduck showed up, that went out of the way.
And I think that's another thing where it's just like OS versus Best Wishes, like the structure, at least, because if we didn't have would we have had those Iris, like those moments between Georgia and Iris, if we didn't have all of the Club Explosion, whatever, Battle Club arcs?
I did like the tournaments,
Whereas
yeah.
In
I think
OS,
it's a good way to show off a bunch of characters without actually having to go out of your way.
Yeah. Whereas in the original series, we only really had the World Cup, which focused on Misty. And that was pretty much it, aside from, like...
To be fair, Misty's kind of a product of her time. Like, it's hard to blame her because it's like, well, you were the first region. You're the first Pokegirl. Of course, you're not going to get everything right on the first go.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to lower your standards a bit because you recognize it. And that's part of the reason why, and I've said this before in other videos, the OG season will always have its love because it's the OG season and because it started a bunch of trends. OG season structurally isn't inherently interesting either. It just gets a lot of credit. It doesn't get as much flack because it's the OG season. Like, it's like you can't really be mean to it. Although I still think Ash is the absolute fucking worst. His gym arcs are so... Because he doesn't earn any of his badges legitimately. It's always through...
Except for, like, Lieutenant Surge.
Yeah, and it took him 2 tries to get that badge. Sabrina's badge was a joke. It's just... Sorry.
This is why my very problematic crush on Advanced Generation Ash comes to play.
Oh, to be fair, that's my favorite Ash. That's my favorite version of Ash.
He's so mean. I love it. Basically, you have to understand something about me. I like mean characters. I like Burgundy. I like Harley. I like Paul. I like Ursula. So basically, if a character is an asshole, I'm gonna stab.
Which is weird because once we hit Diamond and Pearl, we get a dramatic decrease in assholes because apparently Pokemon's going in this direction where everybody's got to be nice to each other for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's why I had a big problem with X and Y. Which, again, I feel like I really have to watch the next 2 series. Well, the next 3, Diamond and Pearl, Best Wishes, and XY. I'm like, it's just chunks that I've seen or haven't seen.
All I'm gonna say is Diamond and Pearl is a drag. Best Wishes has good pacing up until the Chlora Islands, in which you need to just skip that whole fucking thing because that was a waste of time, and I hated myself.
And no Burgundy.
Oh, I hated that was the thing. They didn't use any of the rivals. There was no real progression. The only thing of value that I think is in, I don't know, it's in that arc, is the in arc. The in arc is the only thing of value you probably need to deal with that whole thing. I hated that whole experience. I was reviewing episodes, but you get to look forward to the episode in which Oak catches his Rotom, and that was, I
forgot he had that.
I know, I'm getting flashbacks. I don't even, it's like going back to war, and I still haven't even finished X and Y. I stopped before Ash fought the fairy type gym leader. So I
like the XY series, but the XY series, my love for the XY series mostly spurs in its battles. Battles are really good in that.
Gen 6 is also I think X and Y is the shonen version.
Yeah,
of Pokemon.
it's that Zygarde, that whole Zygarde plot.
It's
that was so good. That's my second favorite arc after the Wallace Cup.
Yeah, I love that. And plus, I unfortunately have a bias for it because it's kind of what brought me to this community in the first place.
Well, yeah, I associate you guys with X and Y, like all of you.
Yeah, because I did reviews on it, and Terrell was not lying. Reviewing an entire series is not a laughing matter. That shit, it will knock you out.
Especially because every Pokemon series is different. I could only imagine why it started with Diamond and Pearl. I would have lost my fucking mind. Mm-hmm. But that's part of the reason why I like Best Wishes so much. I like Black and White so much because I like the games and I like the anime a lot. And that was the series I started reviewing the anime, and that's when I found the community. I told Tyrone, and Tyrone thought he needed to ask me permission to fucking review X and Y. He didn't, but he asked me anyway.
I wasn't asking it like that. I was saying you think it'd be all right as a suggestion. Like
I don't
you think
hold
I
that kind
should
of power,
do it.
Tyrone.
I wasn't. No, I was saying you. Do you think I should? I was asking as a like. Do you think as a YouTuber should I give this a shot? I wasn't being like I need your approval in order to even touch the Pokemon anime series.
Yeah, it wasn't like
But it did come out as like a because I know your response was you didn't need to ask me, but go ahead. I was
fine.
like it did come off like I was asking him.
Listen, we are now off the damn rails at this
This
point.
video's not done, right?
Yeah,
well, I was gonna
stop.
say, did we want to talk about Dawn and Ash? Dawn's relationship.
I guess we need to do that.
Yeah, we need to do that.
There's two ways we can talk about this. It's unlike the Serena situation where there's only one way we can talk about that. Let's talk about it in the way that most people watch the show. About her very similar personality traits to Ash and this kind of, not rivalry, but kind of like this really strong friendship, I guess?
Yeah, they got the high five thing going.
Yeah, like they have this really strong friendship thing going on. And just your thoughts on that.
It didn't bother me. I know it bothers some people, and this is where I get defensive because people say that this was the most stale trio. Because Brock didn't really do much, and Dawn and Ash had more of a friendship rather than. But I feel like, does it always have to be that way where value is placed on whether or not, like how often a group of friends argues or banters with each other? I mean,
I'm trying to think if I even agree with that sentiment. If they're the stale trio.
Different people are gonna have different relationships, and this goes far beyond Pokemon. I want to say, Polly, is like the way people like. I know Terrell, like in the end of the day, Terrell will flat out give me crap on Pokemon Crystal, but in the end of the day, I know he's still my friend no matter what.
Yeah.
But if another friend of mine started doing that, it would be so weird because our relationship doesn't go off of him giving me crap. It would go off of him, our love for, I don't know, My Hero Academia or something. Like different friends, you get different friends react in different ways. Your bond with somebody could be different with someone else.
Right.
The way you are friends with one person necessarily isn't the same way you're friends with another. Like, oh yeah, I'm used to him picking on me because that's how our bond works. Whereas, like, I guess I don't expect Ash to be in a Misty him arguing match every time he gets a female traveler companion.
Well, that and also because you're dealing with a different type of Ash. Ash is pretty different between the first 4 regions. So it's not even like if you were dealing with Gen 1 Ash, it's not the same thing as dealing with Gen 4 Ash. Yeah. So his reactions to dealing with things with Dawn is different because it's a different Ash. I don't necessarily view it as a bad thing, though.
Yeah, me either, and that's why I get annoyed. Oh, well, this trio is the most boring. I thought it was actually very nice. And actually, my favorite thing, more so than any of the other generations, is that I love that their Pokemon were out all the time. And I really love the relationship between Ash and Dawn's Pokemon in particular. There's that one episode, Doc Brock, where he left to go get groceries and medicine and whatnot. So Ash and Dawn were left to take, and it was almost like they were parents taking care of like the children. I don't know, it was just the purest thing, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like it just wasn't really necessary. Like I just liked their friendship. I thought it was wholesome, and they did have their moments though where they banter. Even that episode, they wound up arguing about something dumb.
Oddly enough, out of all the things that I do dislike about Dawn, her relationship with Ash actually isn't a problem I have. And it's only because I think the main issue I have with this trio, because I know you said you are upset that if people comment on the trio, I think my main issue with this trio, oddly, is Brock.
Yeah.
The reason...
Go ahead.
And it's not Brock's fault. I think primarily it's that Brock's been drug on for like this far.
Yeah.
Like, why did they hold on to him so long?
Because it wasn't like he was inherently great in Gen 3 either. He wasn't necessarily great in Hoenn either.
Yeah, he sort of like in this Gen 4 was the worst of it, and I think that's why I think the writers knew that too. That's why they had to go ahead and let him go.
Although I think the Krogan gag is the funniest here versus the Max
pulling his ear.
Yeah, I think actually the Krogan thing is way funnier. It's just that's literally the base of his character here. He just doesn't work. I think we just needed a different type of dynamic.
At this point, Brock faded into the background.
Yeah.
He even mentions it on screen. Like, I remember the movie, we'll discuss it during the actual movie, but I remember there's a movie where Brock goes, I'm sensing a pattern here, because he's being left behind constantly.
Isn't that the Dark Ride film he says that in?
I think it's the Giratina film.
Okay.
Yeah, so my issue isn't even with Dawn in that aspect. It's mostly with Brock. I think my issue with the trio, if there ever was one, was just mostly because, like, with Brock falling into the background, I will say that I have witnessed some moments where Dawn gets into it with Ash. Like, I know there's a moment where Ash is about to look inside this tent and Dawn sort of snaps on him because her hair isn't ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. Yeah, that's early Dawn, so it makes sense. It just, I don't know, like,
I think
when you got...
Do you want to know why I think they think it's stale and what the issue is? It's a redundancy issue. They're so alike, it takes away from the dynamic.
Yeah.
And it's not really Dawn's fault. It's more so Brock doesn't serve the third pillar role he's supposed to because they don't really use him. And I don't think his character works for that anymore. And Dawn was so like Ash, it just felt like you had two Ashes on screen and one of them was just
close.
And I think it's also an Ash issue because at least that's why I like his advanced persona because like that one episode where he and May went at it because he was so, I don't know, he's just such a jerk. And I'm not saying like Ash, because he's not usually like that. I mean, he's kind-hearted most of the time, but it's like Diamond and Pearl. I feel like we lost those moments, so I almost felt like he was similar to Dawn rather than her being similar to him.
I guess it's because, and I think this might have something to do with the Paul arc, is that they wanted to push the idea that Ash was more of the kinder, friendlier trainer versus Paul's very hard and kind of on the nose trainer.
Yeah.
Whereas in Hoenn, he's kind of more like Paul, where he's more of a hard on the nose, not as bad as Paul, but he's closer to that mindset in Hoenn. So it's almost in a way, it's like you nerf Ash or you change Ash to fit better with his story with Paul. But Dawn's already kind of in that same little realm. So it's like, oh, you got two bodies in the same realm. Well, we can't really do anything about it. And it's not like we have a third character here, right? So we'll just leave it as it is. And I think that's kind of the problem. They just left it as it is. And didn't, because what they should have done is they should have put Brock more into the forefront to make up for that similarity, to kind of add some contrast. Where Brock isn't dynamic of a character, which is part of the reason why I think Solon is the way he is. Solon is so extravagant because that allows more variation in the interactions. Although, I mean, I love Solon, so I appreciate that for him. But Brock, I think, couldn't ever hit that because Brock is ridiculous, but only in very specific instances.
Here's what. And this is how you tell that this is a good discussion we're having, is when progression goes throughout people in terms of how they view things. Here's the one thing I will say for Dawn in terms of her character, and I feel like how it could have gotten so much better. They tried their hardest to make Dawn, like what Terrell said, an Ash clone. She has a lot of things similar to Ash. I mean, all the various things. I feel that if Dawn had I feel because they made it, they gave her all the necessary keys to be a main character, but they forgot to make her the main character.
So they didn't give her the car.
Right. I feel like if Dawn had her own spin-off or her own show in Pokemon, and where she occasionally crosses roads with Ash sometimes, and she was her own character, I feel like she would have gotten much better. Because there's a lot of times where I felt like Dawn fell into the background of Ash. Why? Because Ash has priority over every female traveling companion. Because the minute you look on screen, you're going to be looking for Ash. You're not going to be looking for Dawn. Even when May was introduced, the show starts off with May in the advanced series with her and her whole "I don't like Pokemon" thing, and then it immediately jumps to Ash in a stupid Pikachu situation, where
that running
Pikachu
joke drove me
for the
nuts.
15th
Wait,
time.
where is Pikachu?
You know what I'm saying? Pikachu for the 15th time can't control its electricity, so it's hurting Ash.
I can't stand that. It was such an annoying running thing they used in that was in Gen 3, 4, and I don't think they did it in
5.
Oh, it was in 5.
Yeah, best wishes. Reshiram.
Yeah, I forgot about Reshiram.
Well, it got controlled by
I think you're thinking
Chorus.
Zekrom. I think you're thinking Zekrom.
Yeah, I think it was...
Zekrom is the...
Well, Zekrom overloaded it, but I know Chloris controlled Pikachu and it kept shocking Ash.
No, we're talking about the beginning. Not... You're talking about something later with Chloris. I'm talking about like the very beginning of Best Wishes.
Yeah, you're talking about when Pikachu got shut down. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a different problem based around the same concept. Pikachu's electricity is somehow out of whack. Either he has too much or he has too little, and it just gets. It was an unnecessary ongoing thing.
Right.
That lasted way too long for its own good.
I feel like if Dawn had her own series, then the show would have focused on her a lot more, and she could have had more time to shine and get somewhere.
Tyrone, so what are you saying? You want a Pokemon Chronicles 2? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, please.
Oh God! Oh, the Chronicle.
I've been wanting one for years.
It kind of annoys me that they had to make a whole series because the show refuses to take this screen off of Ash for a second.
Well, because I don't think it worked that well because it wasn't as consistent as it should have been.
I love the Chronicle.
I like the idea, and I didn't.
It's gonna have its audience members,
and I didn't mind it. It was just. I wish what they would just do, and it's something I was thinking X and Y was going to do, is have it, because they did this thing with Serena, where Serena wasn't with them for a while. And I was thinking maybe that would be more interesting to have these shifts between certain characters where they kind of split off for a while. Like, even Clement left for a little while, because he's like, I want to get to the gym first to prepare for our battle. And he was gone.
I didn't know that Serena wasn't with them.
Say what?
Serena wasn't with
Yeah, for like the first 6 episodes.
Right.
She was...
You're right.
Yeah, the very beginning, because I
thought you meant like a different part.
No. Serena's was at the very beginning, and Clement was like right before his gym battle with Ash.
Right.
He disappeared for a little while.
That's actually, it's always the middle of this.
When the rage comes through.
I know, it really is. And everyone, it's like these moments where everyone will pick out like, oh yeah, remember when that happened? And it's always in like the very, I don't know. Sun and Moon I've been consistent with.
I was like, Pokemon has weird pacing. And depending on the region, you get really weird pacing. I think the worst thing that Pokemon needs to stop doing is adding in last minute shit at the end of its season. Because they've done that. They did that. They did that in Hoenn when Ash didn't have a rival, the majority of Hoenn. And then they gave him like
Tyson.
2. Yeah, they gave him 2 like at the league, and I'm like,
that means they're gonna kick Ash in the face.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like how.
Yeah, if they introduce a rival at last minute, that means they're gonna kick Ash in the face.
Which is actually, I think that's been pretty consistent. That happened in Gen 3.
Kotetsu kicked Ash in the face.
Yeah, it happened in Gen 5. And to me, Alan wasn't introduced late, but in the main series, he was introduced late.
So, well, Alon, because originally Alon wasn't even going to go to the league. The only reason he went was because he wanted to fight Ash.
I hate that. I hate that whole plot point with him in X.
Yeah. Which is like, I do love that they gave him his own episodes, though. That was fun.
Yeah, but see, that's the reason why I was hoping X and Y was going to do that, because X and Y was already showing hints of like certain characters not being around for certain episodes or doing this. Oh, well, this is what's going on with these characters in this particular thing, like with the whole Alon stuff. it just
Right.
they just didn't take it to the full on extreme, and now they've gone in this full on slice of life, fucking everybody's around everybody all the time kind of thing, and
Hmm.
not a not a huge fan of that. I kind of wish we get back to the journey, but that all kind of depends on what the next Pokemon game is
Yeah.
going to be. That's gone. Once again, off
Yeah.
tangent. It's a bad habit.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I guess this will be my thing for Dawn. Dawn to me was a character that I personally feel like had a lot of potential, but the show didn't try its hardest to utilize all of it. It used some of it. Like there are little moments. Like for example, when Dawn challenged the third, I think is
Yeah,
she
you're
the
talking about
third gym leader?
Yeah, mainly.
Mainly like that.
Oh, right.
I like that.
And that
I
was to
feel
get
like
that was to get
had fuel.
that was to get Maylene out of her funk, and you
Mhm.
got her out of her funk, and then Dawn went right back to being depressed.
Exactly. And then it was like, get back in your box. Like
Back
that.
in your Pokeball.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So I feel like there's moments where Dawn has the potential to be a great character, but she always somehow found a way to shoot herself in the foot. Like she got a great white rival in Zoe. I'll admit, Zoe is a good rival because she not only went out of her way to teach Dawn, she also went out of her way to have her own character, so it wasn't reduced to just her teaching Dawn.
Right.
But it shoots itself in the foot because Dawn loses to her, so I don't even know if
Yep.
she's gotten better or not.
True.
And yes, it's a close fight. Polly brought up a good point. It is a close fight. Dawn and Zoe's fight is extremely close, I think, to where she loses by almost a hair. I think the main problem is that it was right. I think it was they were fighting for the actual championship. They weren't fighting for like runner up or anything, right? Because Dawn got second place in that grand festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So if she had won, she would have just won the whole damn thing.
No, because Jessie was 4th. No.
Right. And Pokemon apparently is allergic. Pokemon's allergic to having main characters win things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, not main canon things. If it's a side thing, they can win it. Because Missy, I think, didn't Missy win the Water Cup, and then Ash won the Battle Frontier.
Missy did. I don't think Missy won the Water Cup. She beat Ash.
I think Ash did. No. Oh, she beat Ash.
Yeah. Ash lost to her. I knew that. But I didn't.
Ash lost the World Cup. Missy lost to a water trainer that was really good.
Of course.
The story of her life.
Yeah, Misty became runner up. I think she didn't win the whole shebang though.
But they'll let the main characters win like side things. Like even Ash and Iris and Asylum have all won the side tournaments and best wishes.
Yeah, and Ash won the Orange Islands and
Don't
stuff.
even get me started.
What?
On the matchups for that. I mean, best wishes should be another video. Cause
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't mind doing that because that's kind of like my home field. I feel like I'm back in my reviewing seat and shit. So
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine for that.
Yeah.
Guys, we're not making any promises though, because I don't like. Then you guys get mad at me and like, where's the video at? And then I get 60 comments about it.
So Polly, and I don't know if you want to count this as a victory or not. I have somewhat changed since this conversation started about Dawn. No, I'm not gonna say that. I know I'm not gonna say she's my favorite. She's still my least favorite character now. She's still my least favorite, but I do see the potential that she had.
Mm-hmm. I think so
I'm
too.
not gonna say I'm not gonna say she doesn't have potential. I'm just saying they didn't utilize it well enough for me to go, yeah, Dawn will be recognized in the history of Pokemon as a great female. Because to me, she still pales in comparison to someone like May, who just had a better come up story to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because I always, even though I do like her, because sometimes you also have to. Sometimes people just have their she's my second favorite character in the entire series. So I guess it's just one of those personal preference things. But at the same time, I know that Dawn had a lot of flaws, and that I think talking to you guys helped bring that to light a bit, because just like things that I didn't really think about too much in terms of like the pacing with her development and all that. Yeah, but I agree. It's like there's just so many things I wish that had been done better with her. Like I I wish that she and her mom had this big, like, I don't know. I just wish there was more of a,
development between her and her mom.
Yeah. Like
yeah,
I said at the beginning of the video, I kind of wish she had copied her mom's style only to realize that contests have changed since her mom's heyday. And she's going to have to make her own style if she wants to make it anywhere.
yeah, or that her mom put, like, maybe they could have made Joanna more of a meaner, I don't know. I mean, this is Pokemon, but
you
like,
and these mean characters,
I
Paul.
don't know,
I,
just
I
mean.
remember,
Interesting.
I remember that way back in Diamond and Pearl. If you played the game, if I got curious and decided to play the contest for a while, there is a moment where your mother is a contestant in the contest. You legitimately battle her and everything. She is in the contest along with you. I kind of wish that like Dawn's mother was still an active contestant or coordinator, and she's very strict about the matter. Like if you're gonna be a coordinator, then damn it, you better be a good one.
Yeah,
Because
I
I will
wish
accept
that.
nothing but fail. I will accept nothing less than
So more
success.
of a hard ass about
Yeah.
more of a
Like I'll like
like
if you want
it's
to follow in my footsteps, fine, but I'm not gonna accept anything less than
it's
success.
like you're my
Mm-hmm.
daughter. I know you can do better. So let's
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah, because and I also wish that we could have seen more, like you were saying about her childhood. It's like, all right, like we saw a few scenes of like the funny gag with Kenny and Leona, but I wish we could have seen like one of Caroline, one of for anybody who's watching, she's one of my friends from Tumblr. She has this headcanon that Dawn was actually a huge fan of Drew growing up. Like she had posters in her
Hmm.
room. She just thought he was the greatest thing. He's just one of her favorite coordinators. So I just thought it would have been cool to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Bring coordinators from other things. That would be kind of cool, actually.
I think,
mhm.
and just to kind of get into my generalized thoughts, I won't say my mind has been changed more so, is I think more of Dawn is just a product of the she's like a product of her environment. Whereas it's not really her fault. This is me talking to her as if she's a real person, but it's weird. I've gotten to the habit of doing this. Um, it's not really her fault as much as it's she just had a lot of things going against her, and a lot of it was just out of her control. You came after May, you couldn't control that. The writing, the pacing of Diamond and Pearl wasn't anything she had any control over. That shit just gonna happen. Her like a lot of her issues are more so results of the era that she came out in. The dub had switched. So a lot of people
Mhm.
were already kind of sick of. People weren't happy about the new voice cast for a lot of characters. There was just a lot of negatives going around the anime side of Pokemon. And
Right.
she kind of got caught a lot of it in the crossfire because she has a good point. She has a good moments. I think her development, even though I think it lasts too long, I think the development using May as kind of the trigger to get her back on her feet is a good come in story for May and also a good come up story for Dawn. I may not like her team that much, but I still enjoyed a lot of her contests and some of the creative moves she uses. Um, you guys already touched on the Zoe fight. She's not. I guess to put it this way, I don't view her as like so far behind my second least favorite, to where it's like, oh, she's just full on garbage. It's just more so, she's a product of her. She's just like Missy. She's a product of her time, and for that, she can't necessarily be the greatest, but she's nowhere near what I would consider uh, doesn't belong in the series trash. So
Yeah.
I may not
Wait,
agree
Yeah.
with it as much as
who's
I
your
want
first
to.
least favorite character?
No, I think his second least favorite is Misty.
Uh,
I'm glad you wanted to tell people about tell her what my Tyrone. I know you know my trivia. Don't make it this obvious. You know all my trivia. Yeah, my favorite to least favorite. It's May. I probably would say May, Iris, Misty, Dawn. Although my
oh, I
issue,
thought Iris was your.
no, Iris is not. May is my favorite. Iris,
Mm-hmm.
because May still has the best overall arcs
Yeah.
in general. Iris, I think, is the best version of Misty's style, uh, but Misty will always have moments that Iris will never be able to touch. Hence why I don't make her my least favorite. Because in terms of development, I think she is the worst. I think Misty's the worst in development. Like
Yeah.
Dawn is better than Misty in terms of development, but Misty has a lot of moments that no other girl will ever be able to touch because it's Misty. Also, not gonna lie, Sun and Moon Misty is fucking adorable, and I cannot take it. It hurts. It hurts
See,
me.
that's what I mean. Personal preference. Which
No, Misty, Misty. I believe Misty and Brock, with them being in there, I think that was just sort of like a
OG
people don't really care for us Pokemon sitcom, so we need to flutter some nostalgia in here to give people a
And it
reason to
makes
come
sense
back.
because there's a lot of Kanto references with Sun and Moon anyway, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just that Misty and Brock, and to me, I always will say this: Misty and Brock will never be the worst because they have that OG nostalgia.
yeah,
And they are the original trio. They are the base that every other picture was drawn from.
Right.
In every subsequent season of Pokemon. So like, that's why Iris is in my. That's why Misty will never be the worst. Actually, since you go bring that up anyway, Tara, how do you order the girls?
Ah,
You.
crap.
Ah!
Crap. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this. Okay.
You did it. You brought it up.
Damn it.
It's your fault.
Well, May's my favorite, so May's my favorite. I guess we're going under that. Then, oh god, it gets weird. It gets weird after May.
We're not gonna count Sun and Moon because for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I'm not gonna count all them. We've got May. Then after May, under May, I guess would have to be. I know this is the unpopular opinion, but I do like Serena. And then after Serena, we've got. I want to say we got Iris. Then after Iris, we got Misty. Then after Misty, we've got Dawn.
I don't rank Serena only because I haven't finished X and Y. I don't feel like it's fair. For
Okay,
me.
I traveled the road of X and Y.
I know you did.
During my review stuff. So Serena has a lot going on. While her cutting her hair was a bit dramatic when I stopped to think about it now.
Oh, it was dramatic.
It makes a lot of sense when it makes a lot of sense when, and I don't know if Polly can back me up on this, but it makes a lot of sense when they say like girls when they cut their hair, it's like they're changing themselves and things like that. So
Well, to be fair,
I got it.
This is the first time we've seen that, like in Naruto when Sakura did it. They acted like it was
Well, Sakura did it was stupid.
All right, listen. I'm just talking about the act.
wait, who's your first one? Was May? Sorry.
Yeah, my first one's May. Yeah, it's May. I love May. May, it's just little things about May. Like when Misty showed back up on the group, May did not fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair. Because I will say this just for those who are curious, because the only thing I haven't, because I don't talk about Serena much because I don't feel like I have enough info. I mean, I watched all the way up to near the 4th gym match in X and Y. I would say my views on Serena, as far as I did get, I'm still not super high on her. If I had to put her in the list, she probably would rank under Misty, in my opinion. She's right down there with Dawn for me. If I had to rank her as of that.
I think we had a discussion about Serena at her low period,
but she rose back up.
Yeah, she rose back. She rose back up to power much later.
See, Serena's a little bit higher. Actually, Serena's the middle. Because
what's your ranking?
I always switch off between Misty. I don't know. I think I just resonate a lot with Misty, and a lot of it has to do with poke shipping. I'm not saying that I base Misty's value on Ash, but it's more her relationship with Ash that I loved. And
I mean, they have the best chemistry. I'll say that.
Also, see, I like the Chronicles because there were so many good Misty episodes, and I just feel like out of all of them, she's just her own person. Like we saw so many moments where she was like even in other episodes too. There was one where it was in Johto, she rescued a Meryl, and then she was separate from Ash and Brock the whole episode. It was about her being there for this Meryl, and I don't know. I just feel like a personal connection with her, and I think she's probably the first, but Dawn also. I think it's because Diamond Pearl is like one of my favorite series. So Misty and Dawn are kind of equal, but I'd say Misty's probably the first. But it switches sometimes. Anyway, May is probably third. Because for a while May was like I used to get annoyed because I used to think May was really overrated. I didn't really understand all the hype until I watched the entire Advanced Generation series last year. Now that I've seen the whole thing, she's definitely high on my list. Um, and I love how quirky she is. And of course her development is great. Then I'd say Serena because I've seen all of XYZ, but I haven't seen early XY. I've seen the earliest XY, but the middle I've lost on.
So you're almost like the reverse of me. You've seen her at her best. I've seen her at her worst.
Yeah, when she made her comebacks.
Yeah. So then would be. Oh, I forgot the Sun and Moon.
No, we're not doing.
We're not gonna do that because you would be the only one who would even put them in there because me and Tyrone don't have as much.
Oh, I was gonna say because and Lily, but okay, barring Sun and Moon. Wait, who did I?
You forgot Iris, which means Iris is probably at the bottom.
So Iris is.
It's fine. It's fine. I feel like
the only reason I didn't do Sun and Moon too is because there's too many characters.
I didn't do Sun and Moon because I haven't watched an episode of Moon that justifies.
Yeah, I've done Sun and Moon. I even did the review on it for a while, but it's so many characters to keep up with. Like Jesus.
Although I will say the Iris conversation I kind of want to do because I'm curious, but that's.
I want to, but I can't because I haven't. Like I haven't even seen
it wouldn't be anything anytime soon. The reason why I say, I mean, part of the reason why we're only doing the Dawn's discussion now is because we're about to start the Diamond and Pearl movies, and I thought, why not?
Yeah.
Because you didn't really.
Although it's a good time for that because I'm still in the middle of my. It's supposed to be a rewatch, but technically it's not because like there's some that I really haven't even seen.
Mm-hmm.
No, because like just after finishing Advanced Generation, it's like I kind of want to say that I've seen the whole series.
You probably have seen what most would consider the last. I hate to say the last good part because it's not fair. It's not fair to me personally.
The thing with me is like with Diamond and Pearl at least though, filler aside, I do like the League and I like how they handled Chimchar because Chimchar to me is like a better version of what Charizard is.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, So and the rival, the Paul to me is like one of Ash's best.
Yeah, I think Diamond Pearl's biggest issue is its pacing and its filler. Those are its two worst aspects. And some people would go, but the League and everything is so good, which is true. But the amount of shit you got to go through to get to that stuff would break most sane people.
And the crappy part about the League is good up till after Paul. After Paul, it's just nonsense.
I like
bias.
In my
Tobias.
In my head canon, I like to pretend like Ash was so powerful they had to cheat him. That the only way you could beat Ash at that point was with legendaries. That's the way I like to look at it. He was just too strong.
That's so stupid, though. It's like, why do you have to resort to that?
Listen, it is stupid, and I fucking hate it. But at least in my head canon, it makes Ash look cooler than what he is in the context of that fight. Because the fight punked the shit out of him. It was the most disrespectful thing I had seen him done. Actually, pretty much Kotetsu's the second worst, in my opinion. Fucking dumb.
Which is why Ash's fight at X and Y is so relieving. Cause it's like, he got second place. Yeah, that sucks. But look at the fight though. The fight.
Even though it's still people were mad when he got second place at X and Y.
I'm one of those people. Yeah, I know.
People
it was
stupid. That was table flipping inducing.
Because it feels like that he lost only because they just didn't want him to win. Nothing outside of they didn't want him to win.
To be fair, that's how I felt like with Sinnoh. Sinnoh's, that's the reason why Tobias drove people nuts, because it was like, you cheated him for no other reason than we can't have him win a league. How fucking dare you?
Right.
That was a hard hit. That, to me, I think that was the league that people were the most.
I mean, at least they gave Alon reason. At least they gave Alon reasonable Pokemon. The only reason Ash lost was because of. I don't know. I don't know why he lost.
I still think it was stupid.
Because I don't think anybody was really expecting anything out of the Unova League. But Kalos, it's like they built it up so much.
Yeah, the Kalos had so much hype behind it. That's why I'd say if we're talking about like truly offensive leagues, the top three is Gen 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Those are the
I
three
will
most
say
offensive.
though, I will say that the Hoenn League was probably I thought it was boring. Like
I'll agree. I agree.
It's
it
not.
was okay.
Yeah,
It's because
that's what
Ash
I
didn't
put
have
in.
any other trainers to build up
That's
to it
what.
except
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
like
yeah. They didn't.
Morrison.
They introduced them. Well, no, you're forgetting the samurai.
Oh,
The lame
yeah,
head
yeah,
samurai.
yeah.
I forget his name, but
I know what you're talking about, though.
yeah, there was the samurai he fought in the league who he spent his entire league match trying to build up because he didn't want to fight his friend. It was a nice moment, but it's such a step down from Gen 2's fights. It's just it doesn't equate. And then Gen 4 was like, well, fuck it, we'll step it up, and then you cheat my man, and then you cheat him again in Best Wishes, and then you cheat him again in Gen 6. I don't want to see him fight another league anymore, honestly. My heart can't take this kind of depression. I don't like to see him.
Right.
I don't know. I think because Gen 4 Ash has like legitimately one of the best teams in the series, and it just felt like you robbed him only because the writing said he couldn't win, and I was like, this is bull.
Yeah.
This is bull.
Right.
Like
That's why I have no expectations for anything.
Good.
Yeah, I went into the this Alola League coming up. I'm not even I'll watch it just for the sake of watching it, but I'm not super invested in it.
No, I feel like that's the lesson as a fan of Pokemon. Depending on what generation you pop in, depends on your thought process when it comes to league fights.
Yeah.
Although that could be God. I hate this. Pokemon has so much stuff to talk about. It's one of those things where it's like you start with an idea and you can go off.
Right, we've left Dawn in the dust.
No need to worry.
I think we got a lot of good points out though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've kind of hit the major stuff. So I think we'll just leave it at that because I mean we essentially already did final thoughts, ending it off with ranking the girls, excluding Sun and Moon. So I think we'll just leave it off of that. Also, because I don't know how long this fucking video is, and that might be a problem.
I think it's like 2 hours.
I know, and that's longer than our movie reviews, Tyrone. We didn't talk
well, to be fair, we're talking about exclusively the movie. Here we're talking about a span of how many years of Pokemon?
You're also, but realistically, we're also talking about a fucking. The movies include like 7
people. A big main
people.
character also.
Say what?
I know we're also talking about a big main character, not
True.
just
Right, we're talking about a character who spanned between hundreds of episodes versus a 1 hour and 30-minute movie.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why we do it. It's just
right.
It's just it always trips me out. But we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Tyrone, for coming on. Appreciate it, buddy. No comment.
And I'm glad. I was gonna say, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to wait for you to finish.
My bad. I got too zealous. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I am glad to be here.
Thank you, Polly. I appreciate it.
Terrell,
No problem.
this picture that Polly posted of Dawn in the Learning League.
You want it as a thumbnail.
Can you please put it up? Can you please?
I know you
it
want,
annoys me, and I hate it.
I know you want it on the thumbnail.
Please put it up.
Listen, I had all these extravagant ideas, and this man was like, "Nah, fuck it. Put up the 480p image. Put up the 480p image of Dawn in pants."
480.
It's probably not really 480, but that's besides the point. Actually, no, because when Diamond Pro was when
that she's in pants.
Actually, no, because Diamond Pro was the region they went HD, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Around the Galactic, because that's when I watched all the way until the end.
Yeah, you can tell the attacks too. Like the move Swift doesn't look like a bunch of 90s anime stars. Now it looks like 3D stars.
Yeah, it's just like bad CG. I'm just playing.
I think it started around. I remember. So, well, I don't remember it specifically, but I remember that time period when I used to watch it like on demand and find the new episodes.
Yeah,
it was around the Snow Point arc.
Yeah, that makes
Zoe stuff.
sense.
Yeah,
I knew it was around that time anyway. I just couldn't think of when in Diamond. But anyways, this was once again tangents. This is what we do.
I know. I love it though.
We got a bunch of different tangents of video topics we can do. I don't want to tell you people that when we're gonna do which. I would just say the next thing they expect from us is probably gonna be the Darkrai review. Because Broly just came out, and I know Tyrone's gonna have some videos, and I'm gonna have videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the topic of conversation. We'll try to figure out when we want to throw some of these videos in here because they are videos we want to do at some point. But for right now, leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below because I know this is a controversial topic. I've seen forum posts on which girl they think is the best and why one girl is better than the other. So I'm curious what you guys think in the comments. Polly's Twitter will be in the description. Go follow her. Tyrone's YouTube channel will be in the description like it always is because apparently I never take it out. So that'll be in there. People are like, man, why is Tyrone? People are like, is Tyrone co-owner of the channel, Terrell? Why is he in like every other video you do? I said, hey, look, he's easy to get a hold of, and he likes talking Pokemon. I don't have a lot of people to do that with. I'm trying to introduce new people to the fold, and you guys wanted Polly back, so here you go. You got 2 hours of her.
Oh, believe me, I mean, I am always, like, Pokemon is probably on my mind, like, 90% of the time. And some days I'm just like...
And that means you're not thinking about Pokemon enough. No, just kidding.
No. Because I know what the other percentage is dedicated to. If when you follow her on Twitter, you'll find out what the other percentage is dedicated to, too.
Yeah,
and,
totally not scrolling and looking at art, right?
Yeah. It's, luckily, I like My Hero Academia. I just didn't know that other people love My Hero Academia in another way that I wasn't prepared for.
Well,
I mean,
Pokemon, I'm a big shipper too. I mean, even today I was talking Conway and Ursula, which is like a ship.
And there's a bunch of
awkward shipping.
There's a bunch of casuals who are like, who the fuck is Conway? And I'm like, you don't watch enough Pokemon if you don't know who Conway is.
Right.
Yep. I might put a picture of Conway in the damn thumbnail just to confuse people. Who the hell is that? Don't worry about it.
Who that is?
I'm glad because I also made like a PGN picture of Polly's icon to use in videos. I get to use it again, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Isn't it cute? I love it so much. Just a blank stare.
It's staring into your
that
soul.
One curl.
That's the problem with Pokemon.
It's even his hair.
Oh, by the way, I'm about to say, this is like the weirdest amalgamation of icons because they'll see our icons talking in the video.
Right.
It's a goddamn Dedenne, a Poliwhirl with a wig on, and an anime character that some people may know. It's Boa Hancock from One Piece for those who don't know. And it's like...
See, I thought it looked like Momo.
No, it could.
It could. I could see. Yeah, the hair looks similar.
It could, but it's not. It's One Piece.
Poliwhirl with a wig.
Poliwhirl is in the middle because she rules them all. Apparently.
I just love when people follow me like that. Aren't really like they've never seen Best Wishes before, and they're like, "Why the hell?"
I have come so far with Dedenne. It's just like a.
Also,
so
to
weird.
be fair, even people who've seen Best Wishes I would have innately. You know what I would have thought of is what's that legendary from it's one of the Tapus in Alola. Oh, what is it? She's psychic and fairy.
Tapu Lele?
Yeah, the hair reminds me a bit of that design because I think her hair is like that and
it's got a swirl. Yeah, it's got the swirlies.
That's what I thought of when I saw it initially. I was like, oh, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then she's like Burgundy, and I went, oh fuck, people know who Burgundy is.
Somebody drew this for me a long time ago.
This is a great community, guys. You need to get into it.
Great community.
Yeah.
I just realized the thing's telling me I'm over 10 gigs. This file is over 10 gigs. All right, I'm ending it. Life's a game, play to win. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, go follow Polly on Twitter. Go subscribe to Tyrone's channel. Expect more Pokemon videos because unfortunately it's so embedded in my life. If I don't make videos about it, there's a problem. So yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh my goodness.